This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Good evening to you here at 7 o'clock. Right now, we need to get the weather that we're tracking for you tonight.
Let's take it over to Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory for what you need to know.
And no issues this evening. A different story starting tomorrow morning. There are areas of snow in the northern portion of the state. Lafayette, you may see a few flurries here over to Delphi, Logansport to Peru. But once you get north, there's the light snow. All of this back to the west will rotate through the state through the day tomorrow as another spark of energy comes in and creates the snow. There is your winter weather advisory from Terre Haute through Indy, Newcastle to Richmond north. That goes into effect late tonight and all day tomorrow for accumulating snow. We expect widespread snow in the morning, expanding through the day, and temperatures will be right around the freezing mark. That wind will gust to 30 miles per hour. First thing in the morning, temperatures right at freezing or above, and the snow arriving. Areas north and west of Indianapolis will have the most snow potential, 3 to 4 inches. As you come down toward the metro of Indianapolis, about 2 to 3 inches, less than that as you go south and east.
Well, never before seen images now public showing the fight involving 2 judges outside an Indianapolis White Castle last year.
RTV6 was able to obtain still images from surveillance video today in a new court filing, blaming the 2 judges for instigating the attack against Brandon Kaiser.
Kaiser is hoping his self-defense claim will reduce the 14 criminal counts against him, ranging from battery by means of a deadly weapon to carrying a handgun without a license. In this latest court filing, Kaiser says Clark County judges Andrew Adams, pictured in the red shirt there, and Judge Bradley Jacobs in the vest, choked and beat Kaiser as he tried to enter a White Castle downtown last year. You can see a 3rd judge, Crawford County Judge Sabrina Bell. She tries to get Jacobs off of Kaiser during the fight. Adams and Jacobs were both shot. In today's filing, Kaiser claims that he was justified in protecting himself because both judges have military training and he felt threatened.
This all dates back to May 1st, 2019, when the judges were attending a judicial conference in Indianapolis. Investigators say the incident began when Kaiser and his friend drove by and yelled something at the judges. Judge Bell allegedly made a hand gesture at them in response, prompting Kaiser to pull over and confront the judges, leading to that fight. All 3 judges are back on the bench after being suspended. Judge Jacob and Bell served 30-day suspension apiece, and Adams served a 60-day suspension.
Covering the State House now, a ban on holding your phone while behind the wheel is one step closer to becoming a law in Indiana. This afternoon, the Senate approved a bill that only allows cell phone use with hands-free or voice-operated technology while you're driving. The bill is similar to a version passed in the House, but representatives there will still need to approve the Senate's version before Governor Holcomb can sign it into law. State police say distracted driving was to blame in at least 48 deadly crashes in Indiana last year.
Work won't start on the Indigo Blue Line for a while, but business owners are worried already. Those doing business along the corridor fear that the congestion could keep customers away. Troy Washington is working for you to explain what Indigo has to say about the current plan.
These are the signs now lining U.S. Highway 40.
We intend on getting these changes made to the planning any way we can.
Businesses worried that fewer lanes to accommodate drivers because of the blue line could back up traffic and business.
And it's going to cause people to want to avoid the area altogether. That's going to destroy businesses.
Indigo saying that's not the case. In fact,
dedicated lanes have the potential to mitigate some of the types of crashes that are commonly occurring in that area.
And according to their findings,
Indigo has conducted traffic impact studies as well as looking at safety studies of the Blue Line corridor to assess the impacts and the safety improvements that the Blue Line project is going to bring to the corridor.
True enough, rapid transit gives accessibility to those who rely on it, but not everyone is on board with how that is accomplished. The Purple Line is up next and will go through Lawrence. The Blue Line project won't start for at least 2 years, but already there's a petition circulating with at least 1,000 signatures to switch the current plan.
We have a lot of long-standing businesses through here that we want to do everything that we can to protect.
Tyler Oldham is new to the city.
So I just moved here from Texas and I don't have a vehicle.
For him, living in a city dedicated to improving public transit is encouraging.
Well, I was doing some research on the buses before I got here, and I heard about how they were kind of expanding it and stuff like that, and it's cool that I have an opportunity to get around the city a lot easier.
Working for you in Wayne Township, Friendship. Troy Washington, RTV6.
As future projects continue moving forward, Indigo is highlighting good news when it comes to ridership in the Circle City. Indigo says it saw an over 8% increase in riders in January, and the Red Line ridership was 6% higher in January than it was in December. Indigo says lower ridership is expected in the winter months, so this upward trend is a pleasant stray from the norm. Indigo credits continued growth to improving service hours and frequency.
One of the Midwest's most popular craft cocktail bars is now on its way to Indianapolis. That's what we're diving into today for Inside Indy. Cincinnati's Sundry and Vice will be expanding for the first time to Mass Ave's Bottle Works district later this year. The bar specializes in alcoholic ice cream floats and cocktails on draft. Although the bar will be part of the garage, it will be the only bar with standalone space in the Bottle Works food hall that comes with a lineup of 18 independently owned food and drink vendors. You can find our full write-up on the bar right now on the RTV6 app with our other Inside Indy content. We may not be in New Orleans, but we got a little taste of it today for Mardi Gras.
Yeah, in honor of the day, we headed to a local staple of Fat Tuesday. Yats serves up Imagine Cajun and Creole food every day of the week, but they go all out on Mardi Gras.
Gumbo and jambalaya, colorful beads, and free king cake at every yacht's a part of the festivities this yacht's owner says is a must when you bring the New Orleans culture to Indiana.
All the stuff that kind of makes Mardi Gras, and it's just, part of the culture that we bring here with us.
There's also a big celebration happening next door to the College Avenue Yats at the Jazz Kitchen tonight in honor of Fat Tuesday.
That made me hungry. Well, it could make the difference between a traumatic process and smooth sailing. Coming up, why there's a big effort to make sure expectant moms get the help they need from a doula.
Plus, a little bit later, the Boy Scouts files for bankruptcy in the wake of a number of lawsuits surrounding sexual abuse. We go back through the timeline of how we got here ahead when RTV6 News at 7 continues. Well, have you ever heard of a doula? It's someone who assists and educates women throughout their pregnancy.
And it's a tool advocates say is underutilized, especially by minority women. RTV6's Stephanie Wade explains why the state is putting more resources behind this as a way to improve birth outcomes.
What's a doula? That's the challenge advocates say they face when talking to pregnant moms about how doulas can help improve birth outcomes. They don't know what they are, but today they're trying to change that.
Too many of our babies are dying, and so without the services of doulas and other community workers, they're going to continue to die.
What doulas do is educate and support pregnant women through labor coaching, nutrition, safe sleep practices, breastfeeding, and other postpartum issues, and work to reduce Indiana's high infant and maternal mortality rates, especially among minorities. Black women are over 4 times more likely to die from childbirth-related issues, and black babies are 2 times more likely.
So, there are decades of support to show that family support services and home visitation are actually improved maternal and infant outcomes. And in the state of Indiana, of the families that qualify, only about 11% are engaged.
The state health commissioner says last year we became the 3rd state to extend Medicaid coverage to doulas. This is important because half the pregnant women in Indiana are covered under Medicaid and have no idea this service could be available to them. They're hoping to get the word out. Working for you, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
They fought for equality, but now it's a fight to keep their memory alive. Coming up inside the museum, looking to preserve a very important legacy.
Snow in the morning, temperatures right around that freezing mark. We'll take you through the rest of the forecast, talk about what happens after the snow coming up.
Serious questions, simple answers.
This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Well, the Boy Scouts of America celebrated their 110th anniversary this month.
Just days later, they filed for bankruptcy protection. The move came as the organization was hit with dozens of child sexual abuse lawsuits dating back decades.
Asher Karashi has more on what this move means for victims.
This is 1960, 25 to 30 victims. The Boy Scouts have had the problems of pedophiles targeting their troops since the very earliest days.
Christopher Hurley is an attorney representing former Boy Scouts who claim they were victims of sexual abuse.
The Boy Scouts' approach over all those many years was to keep it secret, to suppress the information, not share it with the community, and not really address the problem.
The problem, however, has been known for decades. Court records reveal that since the 1920s, the BSA compiled secret red lists of adult volunteers identified as potential child molesters. They were known as the ineligible volunteer files or perversion files. One serial pedophile who was twice convicted in Indiana before preying on hundreds of Boy Scouts in Illinois was Thomas Hacker. He was convicted in 1989 and sentenced to 100 years in prison, where he died. Hurley settled 18 cases brought by his victims.
You know, I interviewed Thomas Hacker in prison and asked him, why he chose the Boy Scouts. And what he told me was, it was just so easy. They really didn't do anything to stop me.
2 weeks ago, the Boy Scouts of America announced a 5-year partnership with an organization that provides services to male survivors of sexual abuse. The BSA isn't talking, but issued a statement in which President and CEO Roger Mosby wrote, "We sincerely apologize to anyone who was harmed in scouting. In addition to implementing strong policies to prevent abuse, we are dedicated to supporting victims when and how they need it." Sweeping new legal changes extending or eliminating the statute of limitations for victims to sue their abusers have been passed in more than a dozen states, including New York, New Jersey, and California. That's led to more survivors coming forward and filing suit. But with last week's bankruptcy filing by the BSA, everything's been put on hold. In its filing, the organization estimates its assets at between $1 and $10 billion.
Well, the bankruptcy is really an attempt by the Boy Scout organization to control the damages and control, hopefully, how much money they have to pay out and to get a cutoff for any more claims.
A portion of those assets will likely go to compensate victims, but anyone who has not filed a claim by a looming deadline could be barred from future settlements.
The bill has come due on these abuse victims. They've got to pay these people. It's not fair to continue to deny them justice.
Reporting from Chicago, I'm Usher Qureshi.
Well, some incredible new video is giving us an idea of what astronauts aboard Apollo 13 saw when they went to the dark side of the moon. Look at that. NASA released this 2-minute 4K video from its Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. The Apollo 13 mission was supposed to be the 3rd human lunar landing, but an explosion forced them to change course. So instead, they had to slingshot around the moon to get back to Earth. This marks the 50th anniversary of that mission.
Wow.
Well, we're going to talk about the bright side of snow.
Right.
There is a bright side,
right? It gleams.
Yeah. I mean, some people need snow in the winter. You want to know that we've had a winter. Am I making any...
No, ski resorts need it.
Yeah, I don't need to convince anyone. You know if you like snow or not. We got some on the way. From Peru north over toward Fort Wayne, very light snow now, and you can see the transition back in Illinois. Trend overnight will be to change any shower activity over to snow, and that's what awaits us tomorrow morning. Snow in South Bend, Chicago, north of Peru, Monticello, some very light snow. We still have light shower activity in the metro area. Temperatures there above freezing and likely to stay that way for a while. 34 in Lafayette and Peru, 37 in Indy, still clinging to the lower 40s. South and west of Indy, our temperatures tomorrow will sit right around the freezing mark, maybe a little below as we go into the afternoon. That will help early on with road conditions, but I think eventually the snow will create slick roads. 11 o'clock tonight, a mixture of rain and snow, northern half of the state. Let's roll this into the morning hours tomorrow. There's our snow, Terre Haute through Indy on to Newcastle, Richmond north. That's at 8 a.m. This will impact part of the morning drive. Your snow probabilities remain sky high through the early afternoon till around 4 o'clock. They'll start to diminish tomorrow evening, but I think the residual snow, even if it's not actively snowing during the evening commute, the evidence will be around to create some tricky travel. 7 o'clock in the morning, widespread snow. We take that to 1 o'clock, still ongoing ongoing widespread light snow, then starts to pull to the north and east, and it will become Ohio's challenge as they get into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. For us, temperatures right at the 32-degree mark, may fall a little bit in the afternoon as the wind kicks up, gusting to 30 miles per hour. Don't forget the RTV6 app, very helpful, as well as the Storm Shield app if there are any school delays or any activities canceled for school tomorrow afternoon. You'll get word of it there. There's your north wind, a cold north wind, and eventually that's going to drop our temperatures for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, well below average. There are the highs on Thursday. Okay, tonight gets all the attention, but let's look at Thursday night into Friday morning. Another little band of potentially light snow over the southern half of the state, sliding through. Then we'll be dry the rest of Friday. As you look at the weekend, 34 with sunshine Saturday, 45 for the high Sunday. Temperatures even warmer Monday and Tuesday. 56 will feel great, although you may get wet.
Yeah. Be warned about that part of it. Yeah, give and take. Well, activists say Black History Month is an opportunity to reflect on the stories of ancestors who spent their lives fighting for equality. Elizabeth Ruiz explains how one civil rights activist is using her experience to educate others.
Gentry is a civil rights activist and volunteer at the Black American West Museum in Denver, Colorado.
This is my great-grandfather, Dr. Thomas Ernest McLean, is the first Black licensed dentist in Colorado.
Her family lives on the walls of the museum, showcasing stories that will never be forgotten.
Coming in here for me is visiting my ancestors.
Confronting issues with the Ku Klux Klan and other incidents of racial discrimination, Terry's great-grandfather had many challenges to overcome in the early 1900s. But he found a community that stood together and found the strength to rise up. Now they serve as an inspiration for Terry and others who reflect on the past during Black History Month.
We get a lot of activity and action in response to Black History Month, and then the interest wanes. But we're here 365 days a year, so we hope that Black History Month gives a highlight to us, but then it continues to create action for people to do things year-round.
Terry says Black History Month was created to show how African Americans have helped to shape the United States, especially since their accomplishments aren't always recognized in mainstream education.
I remember being in school and there was one sentence about our experiences, and it said, Negroes were slaves.
Black History Month is a time when we can reflect on the resistance to slavery and the impactful human beings who fought for civil rights, like Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks. There are so many well-known people who pushed the progression toward equality in the U.S., but for Terry, the most influential person in her life wasn't somebody famous.
My grandmother, Ernestine Smith. Let's take a second.
Ernestine McLean Smith is the daughter of the dentist and Terry's grandmother. She was a dancer,
African dance, jazz, ballet, tap.
But more importantly, she was an advocate for civil and human rights.
My hope is that I continue her legacy. She impacted thousands of lives in our community.
When we understand each other's perspectives, we often come to realize we're not all that different in the end.
We've got to change our mindset and change our attitude and get rid of this issue about entitlement and get rid of this issue about I'm better than you. You know, that's killing us. It's killing the country. We've got to change that idea and start embracing everyone, each and every individual that is here, that comes here, that's been here. It's time for a change.
I'm Elizabeth Ruiz reporting.
Still ahead, you may be marking today on your calendars as Fat Tuesday, but this day goes under many aliases.
The skinny on Fat Tuesday's other names, next, right here on RTV6.
Visit ChooseYourChevy.com.
Most people know today as Mardi Gras or Fat Tuesday. There are a few other names for it, though. There's National Pancake Day, Shrove Tuesday, Fastnacht Day. It all started around 600 AD when Christians were prohibited from eating animal products between Ash Wednesday and Easter. So they would make pancakes the Tuesday before to use up their lard, butter, and eggs. That's morphed into other creations over the years, like the king cake. Whatever you call it, in many cultures, it's a day to overindulge. Just ask those in Iceland who call it Bursting Day.
61 in New Orleans right now.
They're warm there.
Lucky them.
We're indulging for Kevin's birthday today. Send him a message on Facebook.